Hey, it's Michael Dermer, and in this lesson, we're going to talk to you about what is a financial plan. You know, any well-run business, despite how good your idea is, can't come to life unless you have a real financial plan. So let's get into it. So what is a financial plan? You know, there may be some of you out there that are accounting folks that have been exposed to different things in accounting, and there may be others that have never even seen or know what a balance sheet or an income statement is. Regardless of your experience with money and finances, if your business idea can't boil down into a financial plan that succeeds, it's hard to keep that business going and to realize your entrepreneurial dreams, okay? So that means you need a financial plan, okay? On a simple level, if you were throwing a dinner party, right, you'd think about, okay, great, what am I going to spend, right? What am I going to spend on the salad and the entree and the dessert and, of course, the alcohol, right? All that becomes part of your budget, okay? So what does it mean to have a financial plan, right, for a business, okay? A financial plan is boiled into three major what they call financial statements: an income statement, a balance sheet, and a statement of cash flows, or a cash flow statement, okay? Your income statement says what is the revenue or sales that you're going to get, right? And what are your expenses? So let's say you have a lemonade stand, right? Your sales are going to say how many glasses or gallons of lemonade have I sold. That's your revenue, right? And your expenses are, right? I've got my table, right? I've got my lemons, I've got my staff to sell it, okay? So income and expenses, that all becomes your income statement. It is also sometimes called a profit and loss statement, okay? Next is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet really shows you your, what they call your assets and your liabilities, right? Your assets are things that you've accumulated, right? So for example, cash is an asset, right? What they call accounts receivable, which is what is owed to you by customers, is an asset, okay? If you have intellectual property, that can be an asset, okay? And then you have liabilities. The most common liability is a loan, right? You might have to pay back a loan. So you have your assets and your liabilities, and that makes up your balance sheet, which is your second part of your financial plan. And finally is your cash flow statement. I can't emphasize enough the importance of your cash flow statement. Okay? Cash says what cash is coming in and what cash is going out. Okay? Most businesses that don't succeed don't fail because they have bad ideas. It's because they run out of cash. Okay? So your income statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow statement all work together. And you say, okay, that's great. We now know what the elements of a financial plan are, but how the heck do I do it? How do I actually create a financial plan? All right? Well, think about the first thing that goes into it is sales. Right? You've got to actually forecast sales, and that's what sometimes they call it, a sales forecast, right? How do we figure out the money that's going to come in the door, right? If I'm launching an app on the Apple Store, right? How many downloads am I going to get, right? So I have to be able to forecast, right? And remember, a forecast goes into the future, right? How do I figure out the revenue that's going to come into my company? And that's obviously a critical element of developing your financial plan. Then you've got your expense budget. So if you use my example of the dinner party, right? You've got to figure out what is it going to cost. So take the example of my app. What is it going to cost to develop it? What is it going to cost to market it? Right? What is it going to cost to license technology I need to develop it? Right? So all those things go into your expense budget. Then part of it is your cash needs. Right? We've figured out revenue and expenses, but where does cash actually come from? Where do I get the cash to pay for these expenses? Right? When a customer says, I'm going to buy $1 million from you, right? You still don't have cash, right? So how do you actually figure out how to collect that cash from customers? So you have to try to forecast into your financial plan how those cash needs kind of flow in and out of your business. Next is financing, right? You may not have, in fact, most of us don't have the money we need to do everything we need to do for the business. So sometimes we have to go to outside investors. That might be crowdfunding, right? It might be friends and family. It might be angels or angel networks, but we have to think about, as part of this financial plan, where are we getting a source of capital to get our business off the ground and to grow it. And finally, something we should all keep in mind are these two concepts that we call break-even point and cash flow positive. So break-even point means on your income statement, it's when the moment that your revenue exceeds your expenses for a period, right? So if you generate $100 in revenue and you have $90 expensive, expenses, you're past your break-even point. You're now generating $10 of profit, okay? So it's really important to know when in your business you're breaking even. In addition to that, it's when you go cash flow positive, right? It is what it says. It's when more cash is coming into the business than when cash is going out of the business. And if you really lay out in your financial plan when you're going to achieve break even and when you're going to achieve positive cash flow, those are big markers that the companies that get to those points actually have a much greater chance of success. Okay? So that's your financial plan, right? It won't be all easy for you at first. It'll challenge you to think about new ideas, but no good business owner can execute on a business without having a detailed understanding of their financial plan. Okay? Remember, in addition to this video, we've got a whole bunch of detailed information written out for you in this lesson side by side so you can read it at your leisure.